So, Saima, in part two, you have opened the vista before us of reason, pragmatism, and how that is impacting a larger reality that we are oblivious of. And we are so caught up in our perceptual worlds created of our own selves. And then you ended part two with the question, what is true and what is the truth?
Yes.
So I would like you to elaborate on this and help us, our viewers, our listeners, to relate the realization of pragmatism and principle in our own everyday lives as professionals, as members of family and community.
Definitely, definitely. Um, you see, Kamran Sahab, pragmatism is about the the process. Now, we evaluate the process in terms of the outcome. And what kind of outcome do we desire is determined by how established we ourselves are within ourselves. Is our intention, is our conscience taking participation in that awareness or not? Obviously, that matters. But as I said, there's a difference between what's true and what is truth. I'll try to relate it to the concept of pragmatism. You see, I'm sitting here in Islamabad right now, and we are having this conversation. This is true. Is there any doubt about that?
No, no.
No,
I
it's not.
definitely, I'm engaged in a conversation with you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this is true, right? However, it might not be true tomorrow.
Mm,
So what is true is bound to time,
right.
right? But truth is timeless.
Okay.
It
Okay.
will not shift and change. And the principles you were referring to initially are the truth. They are
Okay.
the truths. And
Right.
our pragmatic approaches, we base them on the truths of every day that we believe to be true.
Right. Right.
Now, if we consider today what is going to benefit me, let's suppose, for a 14-year-old, what they think is going to benefit them is going to be different than what a 34-year-old is going to perceive, than
Mhm.
what a 54 years old is going to perceive, than what an 84 years is going to. So what is true for us and the perception of the reality or the truth itself is never absolute.
Mm, true. Got it.
It's constantly shifting and changing. But what is truth? Sun sets in the west. Who can challenge that?
True.
If
Got
you
it.
jump off a building, regardless of what faith you belong to, what religion, you're going to break your leg.
Mm.
It's the truth, because the law of gravity is going to ensure
That you're damaged
that you're damaged.
or killed.
Exactly. Right? So a pragmatist approach is basically based on not what the reality or the truth is, but what I find to be true.
Very subjective.
And it's very subjective. And why we suffer our own truths is because they're not absolutes. They change as we move on, as we move along. And one of the reasons why I gave the examples of how we as human beings, in the name of reason, have started to make laws which do not include those life species which cannot reason, is because we have lost the track of totality of life.
Mm.
So in the name of our pragmatic approach, we only think of what benefits me
So
or my organization.
are you then saying that pragmatism is also very short-term thinking? and near horizons rather than taking the longer enduring view of by
I would say
day.
pragmatism. I would say pragmatism is a very safe ground for intellectual discussions, for proving your points.
Hmm.
But nothing can ever grow on that ground. You can never plant a seed in that ground.
Wow, could you repeat that? This is amazing. Pragmatism is,
Is a very
um,
safe ground for intellect, but
wow,
nothing can ever grow on that ground. You can
wow.
talk all you want,
So
but
your
there's no fruit.
invitation, so your invitation is for us to uh, redouble our efforts to discover the truths and align ourselves with the long term.
This is what life is all about. This is what gives meaning to one's life, not to start creating your own versions of truths, but to unravel, to discover. You see, I personally believe a person, whoever seeks clarity in life, or a scientist, they have to be naive. They
Mm,
have to consider themselves as naive, because we can hope all we want to
mm,
find the truth, but
mm,
it's very rarely we consider how much actually really want to find the truth, because
mm,
that costs you. That costs you to make different choices,
mm.
which might make you lose power in the physical world, but you gain power in the invisible world.
Right. So those who are faced with challenges, legal, financial, marital, uh, are faced with those challenges. They need to make decisions. They need to move on. They can't suffer from analysis paralysis. What advice can you give? Because these are big questions, and I need to live day to day and need to have a vision that I'm pursuing. So, what care do I need to exercise in my everyday living and making decisions and moving on? Because I will be faced with challenging situations at work, at home, from time to time, and I'll have to make value decisions. So, what are the things I must keep in mind in light of pragmatism, what is true and what is the truths? How does one navigate this ocean called life?
Um, this is a very interesting question, and I can respond to this question taking various different positions. However, because I'm not addressing to a particular situation, I would like to keep it in general, right? First thing first, according to my own personal experience and what I firmly believe in, we never suffer anything external. We only suffer what is internal. That means whether it be a job, a financial situation, a relationship, you name it, it's our perception of what it is and how it should have been is what we suffer really.
Right.
The second part of this is, if people want to really find ways that how they can reconcile between being a little practical as well, being not too rigid about the principles as well, all they need to ask themselves is one question and be honest about it, that whatever I'm doing is not because I know what needs to be done in its entirety, but because this is the only part of the truth I can handle and face right now. I don't want to face more truth, hence, I'm just going to take this decision now.
Mm. With a clear
Because,
intent. With a clear
yes,
intent.
yes. Because if one, if one wishes to really understand the truth, the first thing which they need to upset is their own life. That's
Mm.
what truth demands. It doesn't demand anything less than that.
वाह। तो आपसे गुफ्तगू करके हम इस नतीजे पे पहुंचे हैं कि देखो, जिंदगी गुजारो, फैसले करो, नियत साफ रखो, हक और हकीकत क्या है, कुदरत का कानून क्या है, वो दरियाफ्त करने की खोज में ज़रूर रहो, लेकिन साथ ही साथ अपनी ज़िंदगी बसर करने के लिए नीयत साफ रखो और वो कदम उठाओ जिससे दूसरों का नुकसान कम अज़ कम हो या ना हो तो बेहतर है। अपना भी सोचो और दूसरों का भी सोचो, और उसूल जो भी है, कानून जो भी है, उसको जहन में रख के आगे बढ़ना होगा। मुमकिन है कि वो फैसला दुरुस्त ना हो, लेकिन
Yes.
कम से कम नीयत आपकी साफ है। और अगर फर्ज करें कि वो नतीजा नहीं है जो आपने चाहा, तो आप उस गलती से सीख भी सकते हैं। तो
Yes.
इट्स नॉट द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, इट इज दैट ये डायलेमास रहेंगे। एंड आपने शुरू में साइमा हामिद एक बहुत प्यारी बात कही थी कि देयर आर नो इजी आंसर्स।
No.
और ये मैं समझता हूँ कि अगर हम अपने जहन में रख लें, एंड एनीथिंग वर्थ डूइंग इज डिफिकल्ट, तो trying to discover the truth is a difficult journey, and it wants our life as such. And at the same time, we need to live and thrive. And to do that, from what I'm getting, is yes, prioritize, address the immediate needs, the medium term needs, and indeed the long term needs. And that is why we are given some reprieve that if your intent is good and clean and you're fair in your approach, you may not find a perfect solution, but you will certainly come to an outcome which will either delight you or will guide you to a better approach, a better strategy next time. तो कुछ
Yes,
लग रहा है
yes,
कि जो आपने बात
absolutely. Thank you so much. You've summed it up really nicely. One additional filter which I would like to share that we can use is that whenever we are making choices in life, we need to incorporate the consequence of those choices on various aspects around us. So much so, you should, I mean, if somebody chooses to smoke every day and you have children, they cannot reason with you. But you need to be aware that my smoking is going to affect my children as well. Right? So then make choices by at least bringing into your awareness all the aspects which could potentially be affected by them.
Right, right.
And then make your choice.
And I think taking these small steps every day, consciously, deliberately, will
Yes.
make us better human beings and will make us responsible citizens as well, in the larger scheme of things. So, Saima Hamid, thank you so much for your time, and
Thank you
indeed
so
we
much.
will meet again. And I hope to God that this particular episode has raised more questions than answers, because then those questions will flood your inbox, and indeed you will be
I
tempting.
I hope I was able to get across what I was hoping to. However, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and I should say dragging me into doing this. Honestly, thank you so much.
Pleasure is all mine. Allah
Thank
Hafiz.
you. Thank you, Ji.